Good morning and welcome to the Forex Daily Update, brought to you by Pepperstone on Friday the 7th of September 2018. I'm Darren Sinden and you can follow me throughout the day on Twitter by using @ds_Pepperstone. Right, let's take a look at the overnight changes and price moves to be aware of. But just before we do that, let me flag that we will be taking a break next week. So there'll be no videos next week and we will be returning on Monday the 17th of September. Right, a relatively quiet session overnight, but there are a couple of key moves that I want to flag. First of all, further losses for the Australian dollar against its US counterpart, down by another 0.36% to trade at 71.67 shortly before we recorded the video, bringing its monthly loss to 3.55%, or its 30-day loss back to that level at any rate. But there were gains for some emerging market currencies against the US dollar, and the one that stood out in particular was the Brazilian real, which rallied by 1.77% against the US currency, offsetting the 8% plus that the US dollar has made or gained over the Brazilian real over the last 30 days. Dollar index for its part testing back below that key 95 level. It may only be a psychological level, it may only be one in our mind, but I think 95 is a key point for the dollar index, and as we recorded the video we were just below there at 94.99 on the day. Okay then, what's on the calendar? Events that may move the markets today. Well, it's a pretty packed calendar. Note that we have an ongoing meeting of the Eurogroup over the next 24 hours. We've also had, earlier this morning, investment lending for homes and home loans data out of Australia, all looking a little bit mixed. And we'll come to that in due course. We also had Japan's leading economic index and coincident index data, and that again a mixed bag, but there's further news on the yen and Japan to consider. To come at 6 a.m. GMT, we'll have industrial production out of Germany alongside trade balance data, both of those data points for the month of July. And then at 9 a.m. Eurozone gross domestic product for the second quarter of this year. The market looking for 0.4% on the quarter-on-quarter numbers, so that's the figure to keep in mind. And then, of course, the real action is in the States later this afternoon at 12:30 GMT to be precise, because it is the August non-farm payrolls release, including the non-farms, unemployment rate, average hourly earnings, labour force participation as well. In terms of what we're looking for, around 191,000 new jobs is the forecast, with unemployment expected to improve to 3.8%, down from last month's second monthly read, I should say, of 3.9%. So that's what we're looking for there. And then at the same time, although I imagine it will be overshadowed by the non-farm payrolls release, the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston President Mr. Rosengreen will be speaking, and we'll also have Canadian unemployment and participation rate data for the month of August. Then at 1300, as the market digests the unemployment data, we will hear from the FOMC member Meister. At 1400, we will have the IV Purchasing Managers Index data out of Canada. And then at 1645, our second central banker speech on the day, as FOMC member Kaplan takes to the stand. And finally, to round off the week, if you're still in the market, the Baker Hughes oil rig count data is out at 1700 GMT. Okay then, breaking news and comment that's caught my eye overnight. First of all, rumours are circulating that Donald Trump has Japan in mind for his next round of trade tariffs and protectionist measures. That's something certainly to keep an eye on. Meanwhile, Mexico's incoming president confirms that he will continue to allow private investment in the country's oil industry, selling oil wells and licenses by tender. That's interesting because he has been painted as something of a socialist by the opposition, but clearly he's having to pursue privatisation around the oil industry. Staying in South America, Brazilian auto production has surged in August by more than 18%. This is the second month over the summer to see good growth in this number, and I think that can help to explain the rebound in the Brazilian real to some extent that we saw earlier. Okay then, food for thought, something to take away with you into the trading day and beyond. But why not think about this? We are now just 2 months away from November's US midterm elections. Donald Trump and the Republican Party face a battle to retain control of the Congress, or lower house, with some 38 of their seats being seen as up for grabs, while only 3 Democratic positions are seen as being vulnerable at this present time. And here's the breakdown as things stand at the moment, courtesy of the BBC and the Cook Political Reports. Republicans in red, Democrats in blue, and these are the potentially vulnerable seats that the Republicans need to defend. These are the Democratic vulnerable seats in here, and so it's really what I take away from that graph is really the Republicans' election to lose, and obviously with things as they are in the White House, it's open to question whether they can gather sufficient support. Of course, a lot can change in politics, particularly in the US, between now and November. Okay, please take a moment to read the risk warning. Trading CFDs and foreign exchange on margin can be a risky business. If you're in any doubt about those risks or the suitability of leverage products for you, then please do contact your Pepperstone account representative and do take a moment to read this risk warning thoroughly. Thank you for your time.